Hi there, welcome to Joyce on YouTube. Don't forget to join us on the Joyce Meyer app and at joycemeyer.org for more of what you're about to see and lots of great content to help you in your everyday life. Thanks so much for joining us.
You are not going to believe what you are about to see on today's program. It is shocking on many levels. A true story so unusual that you truly have to see it to believe it. It's also a beautifully redemptive story that will encourage you if you've ever been abused or manipulated. So first, let me ask you a question. How many decisions have you already made today? Like what to wear, what to eat, how to spend your time? I'll bet you wouldn't like it at all if all your daily decisions were made for you, if you were controlled by other people in every area of your life. I know I wouldn't like it at all. Today, there are people, especially women and girls, who are not free to choose anything for themselves, and not just in other countries. What you are about to see happen right here in the United States. It's hard to imagine living like that. So we do everything we possibly can to show them the love of Jesus and to help them begin to dream again.
You want to go for a walk? Good boy. Good boy.
You know, when I sit here in my own home and I think about the comfort and safety of home, it makes me really wonder what it will be like when we go to Short Creek, because these families have never had that. They have been in terribly abusive situations. They've been very controlled, and some of you understand what that's like as well. But I'm looking forward to connecting on a personal level as a part of Joyce Meyer Ministries and as part of Short Creek Dream Center working together. And so I'm really looking forward to being able to do this. It's kind of one of those things that makes your heart happy again. When you go to tell a story, that's one thing. But when you go to bring a solution, that's another. And that's what I'm most excited about seeing happen here.
Good boy.
We are driving through spectacular Utah, getting close to Hilldale, Utah, which is where cult leader Warren Jeffs really wreaked havoc on nearly an entire town of people that he systematically controlled and manipulated everything about their lives, from what they wore to what they ate to who their families were, who they slept with. And so many of these, especially young girls, were dragged into this, forced into this, abused sexually in horrific ways. And many of these women and children were born into this lifestyle. They're lacking education, they're lacking sanitation, they're lacking hygiene. We talk about Project Girl being able to guide restore and love. And this is a place especially where that restoration and that love is so important. And the guidance aspect of this is very delicate because they have been a part of a religion that was gone wrong, that was very manipulative. And what we have the opportunity to do now, very gently, very lovingly, is to introduce them to the real loving God who can make a difference in their lives. They need that so desperately. But you can only imagine how hurt they are and how hard it will be for them to trust in this again. So we're just so grateful to have this relationship with the Short Creek Dream Center, that together we're there being a consistent force in their life, not leaving. This is not just about a sensational story. This is about God working in their lives in really big ways.
The history of how women were treated, they were seen as a piece of property. Under Warren Jeffs, they were even traded as property. Women were marginalized as much as could be.
When Warren Jeffs was in charge, you constantly had to worry about where you would be, where your kids would be. There was no security. There was no safety. There was no knowing what was going to happen the next day.
One of the things that is has to be very difficult for people to at times come back into this house that was Warren Jeffs' home, where many of these people lived or came at different times. The room very close to us over here, the intake room where women were examined, essentially sexually assaulted. So many things happened in this home. How are you taking this place and turning it around and using it for something very different?
The community and beyond are coming in with their own versions of dreaming up what a beautiful space looks like. And they'll come in and they'll remodel and redecorate. The inspection room that you mentioned was one of the most emotional ones to do. When we had somebody adopt that space, there was a Murphy bed in there, which was used, we're told was used for inspections and horrible things. And when somebody adopted that space, we gave women from the community sledgehammers and empowered them by letting them come in here and just go at it. And they were fierce. It was inspiring because we know those people. Mm-hmm. We see them at the grocery store. And there's just this connection. So they got to come in there and smash that all up and have fun. And we had the tile up at the moment. So the women and other community members that have had experiences in this house got to come in and write whatever they wanted on the floor. And then we tiled over it, and that'll be there forever. So.
Mm-hmm. We had a thought process behind it. And I mean, of course, it's backed by scriptures, like what was meant for evil would be meant for good now. That's what our mindset has been throughout the whole remodeling of this home, is that we wanted to take those spaces and transform them for something good, in a place where people will feel welcome, they will feel safe, they will feel at home, and they will know that this is the place where they get to start again.
There's a room in this house that I think is so interesting, because you told us that he would know things about people and say that God had told him that these things were happening in their lives. Well, in this room, you discovered that he had access to communication, to email, to everything that was going on, not only in this home, but in the town as well. So when people began to realize, wait a minute, it wasn't God telling him these things, how did they deal with that?
There was a lady from the community that had toured, and once we were explaining that during the tour about this room, she was like, well, that's how he knew. That's how he knew. And so, of course, we asked, we're like, what do you mean? What did he know? And she said, well, in chapel, he pointed me out and said, I know that you're talking to a boy, and the Lord told me that you need to stop. And she was like, oh my gosh. And she's like, I didn't know how else he could have known. And so that just further made them believe that he really does hear from God. How else would he have known that? The level of control and hold that he had over people, or that he manipulated situations to make them believe that he was truly hearing from God, was just horrible and so traumatic for so many people.
Project Girl exists because Joyce experienced in her own life the horrific confinement and effects of abuse and trauma. And to be able to be here, making a difference for so many of these women, for their children, is astounding.
Did you realize that you can be a part of what is happening here and all over the world as well? You can fight for women and girls together with us, and then we can do so much more. So I ask you to reach out today. Go to joycemeyer.org, give us a call, and stand with us. Let's make a difference in these lives.
I invite you to join me in the Joyce Meyer app or at joycemeyer.org. Today, for more on this topic and other teachings, I believe God will use these to help you in your everyday life. I'll look forward to seeing you there.